In 1920, the United States government passed a law that was supposed to save America from itself. It didn't. Instead, it handed billions of dollars to the most dangerous criminal organizations in history and turned American streets into a war zone. 30,000 illegal bars in one city, $60 million a year in one man's pocket, half the police force on the criminal payroll, and one constitutional amendment that America was forced to undo. This is what happens when a government tries to control what people want. This is prohibition. Imagine an entire city living a double life. By day, laws, order, and respectable faces. By night, an entirely different world. This was not fiction. This was America in the 1920s, and it was caused by a single law, a law they meant for good that delivered devastation. January 17, 1920, the 18th Amendment to the United States Constitution takes effect. Alcohol, banned. Its manufacture, its sale, its transportation, all of it, a federal crime. They called it the Noble Experiment. They genuinely believed it would end crime, rebuild the family, and save society. They were wrong about everything. Within hours of the ban taking effect, federal agents stormed warehouses and factories across the country. Millions of gallons seized, destroyed, poured into the drains. Saloons shuttered, breweries went dark, victory flags were raised. But beneath the surface, something else was already taking shape in the shadows, something no one was prepared for. Americans did not stop drinking. They simply went underground. By 1925, there were estimated 30,000 illegal speakeasies in New York City alone, more bars than had existed before the ban. Secret passwords whispered at hidden doors, bookshelf entrances that swung open into warmth and jazz, a world that felt more alive precisely because it was forbidden. The law had not ended the demand. It had simply handed control of that demand to criminals. Into that vacuum stepped men of a different kind. Alphonse Capone, son of immigrants, not yet 22 when his rise began. By 1927, he controlled an illegal empire generating over $60 million a year, the equivalent of nearly $1 billion today. Secret breweries, underground bars, gambling houses, and in his pocket, judges, police, and politicians. Capone did not break the system. The law handed him the system. Where great wealth exists, war follows. February 14, 1929, 7 men shot dead inside a Chicago garage, in cold blood. Machine gun casings scattered across the concrete floor. Newspapers printed the photographs for the world to see. This was the America that Prohibition had built. The federal government was overwhelmed. Prohibition agents were underpaid, understaffed, and massively outgunned. Corruption spread through law enforcement like a disease. In Chicago alone, Capone had more than half the police force on his payroll. The law designed to clean up America was rotting it from the inside. Then came the catastrophe. 1929, the American economy collapsed in an instant. Millions lost their jobs, their homes, everything. And suddenly, officials recognized a devastating truth. Taxing alcohol could have generated hundreds of millions in government revenue they had thrown away. Prohibition was not just a moral failure, it had become an economic catastrophe. December 5, 1933, Franklin D. Roosevelt signs the 21st Amendment. With a single stroke of a pen, a constitutional amendment was undone. The first and only time in American history, the only time it has ever happened. 13 years of the Noble Experiment, its curtain fell, leaving behind wounds that would take generations to heal. But here is what history does not always tell you. The criminal organizations that Prohibition created did not dissolve when the law was repealed. They evolved. They deepened their roots. They expanded into narcotics, into gambling, extortion, and political influence. The American mafia that terrorized this country for 60 years after was the child of a single law, a law that wanted to purify America. The lesson is simple and brutal. When governments ban what people want, they do not eliminate the desire. They simply lose control of who provides it.